Hi, and welcome to the Bond Online. My name is Eric, and today we're going to talk about how to send email messages via the Microsoft Graph API. If you're a system administrator, you probably are aware of that in current circumstances, mail for applications or for printers or whatever are sent via a local SMTP server. Via the Graph API, you can do basically the same, but of course, you don't need an additional server. Just a little technique you can use maybe in the real world. Just want to demonstrate it to you. I want to demonstrate it to you via two examples. The first one is just sending a regular text message to a user and to corporate CC accounts. And the second one is a bit more advanced. That's with HTML and attachment. So first things first, we're going to check which access rights we need. It requires the mail read write. I've just tested it, and it also required the mail send. I've added that in my requirements in the script. So first, we're now going to do is adjust the Microsoft Graph API we've created in episode 1 and adjusted in episode 3. So I'll go to Azure Active Directory, app registrations, all application, and there it is. If you're new to the channel, you need to create this one. So I recommend that before you continue watching this video to watch episode 1 and episode 3, because this is basic requirement you use. Otherwise you aren't able to connect to your Azure AD via the Graph API via a script. Okay, so now we're going to back to the API permissions, and we need to add the mail read write and the mail send access rights. So we're going to add the permission, Microsoft Graph, application permission. We're looking for mail. Oh, it doesn't want to look for mail. No, okay, then we're gonna scroll. Let me check. Here it is. We need this one and send add permissions. Grant admin consent. Press yes. And the API has now the available required access rights. Second thing we're going to do is create a NoReply mailbox. Of course, you can do it. This should also be possible via the Graph API, but I've scheduled that for a later video. And now I just want to show you how you can quickly create a shared mailbox in your test environment. You just go to I've logged in to the office.com with my admin account. Go to the admin section, show all, go to Exchange. And you just can create a shared mailbox. It isn't required. I prefer to use a shared mailbox because a shared mailbox doesn't require an additional mail license. And it's just for sending email and nothing else. So a shared mailbox is fine. So create email address. In this case, I use NoReply, and then I select the domain that's available. Then we click create. Okay, let's check if it's there. Yes, it is. Okay, so I think we can close this one. Now we go back to the script. So first we're going to do is create a connection, get a token for the Graph API. That's line 15 to 23. Press F8. Do we have a token? Always keep in mind that if you have made adjustments to the API access rights, you need to refresh your token. So if you run this before you made the adjustment, it probably won't work because the API permissions aren't processed in this token. Okay, now we're going to do a script. I just created this mailbox, that's the sender, and it will send an email to this user and a CC to these other two users with this text message and a body, and the content type is text. Okay, so let's run and see what happens. Okay, at least some mail is received, I guess, because we heard a beep. Okay, I already opened Adele Fence's mailbox, and as you can see here, the text message has arrived. So you also see it has sent to the CC of the other two users we configured earlier. So this is test. So now we send via the Graph API an email message. Okay, I made some additional explanations what you have to look at. This of course is basically the mail. The context isn't that hard. It's just this is the body, and this is the two recipients, and these are the CC recipients in this format that will be transferred to the JSON format. If you see here, there's one additional comment I would like to show you, or parameter, that's depth4. I will show you the difference when you don't use it compared to when you use it. So, of course, this body will be transferred to a JSON format. So I would like to demonstrate it, how it looks. First, I do it without the depth command, and then I do it with the depth command. So now the attribute body is basically the same, but then converted to the JSON format. And what you see here, if you see this and you don't put the depth command, it generates a system collection hash table. And basically that means that you need to add a depth, so it will convert more layers for the JSON file. I will demonstrate it to you. So now we need more depth basically. So if I use the command and now I add depth4, let's see how the body now looks like. Yeah, now we have it in a proper format. So you can see it converts more levels for the JSON file. So if you don't add this, you get the wrong JSON file, which won't be accepted by the Graph API. Yeah, so that's basically how it's done. If you look at the sender URL, it's just basically, it takes the users part of the API. You can use this. It's basically the mailbox you're sending from, and then you see the /send mail, and that's basically the URL which you need to use to send the JSON file to. So it's important that if you convert to JSON and you see this, then you need to raise the depth attribute. Okay, so that's working. Now we have the second example. That's a more advanced email. First, let me copy the address of the mailbox we just created in here. Yeah, if you look at this script, it says basically this is it's also a test message, but then in the HTML format. And if you look at the body, it also tells you that the content type is HTML. And then you say this is a test message, and it will bolden the email text in the content. This part is the same. I also added a part which you can use for attachment. And what you see here is basically the setup of how to configure attachment. The attachment isn't copied from a C drive or a static drive. It's basically configured via base64 text. And if you look at this, it says here, okay, it's a file attachment for Microsoft Graph, and the name is attachment.txt. And this also tells you the content type. And in this case, we're using a text file, but you can also use the same technique for if you want to add an image. What I would like to see here is is the content of the attachment text. But this is in a sort of a base64 image. And if you look at this website, I can demonstrate it to you how you can encode and decode that. So I think we now need to decode it because we already have the code. And if you decode it, you will see it will transfer it to the text hello world. And if you want to encode it, like that's basically if you need, let's also say hello world. You can give it an encode. Then you can provide this to the code, and then it will send. If you put this in in your script, then it will send basically this in the attachment. You can also use a similar technique to send pictures with your HTML email, and you also can convert that to base64 format. You have a few. I will make another video which I can explain this in more detail, but it's just want to now demonstrate that you can email via the Graph API. You can also send some more advanced emails. So let's start example 2 and see what happens. Yep, there we have it. Now, as you can see here, you see that this is a message in HTML format. You see that the email is bold, just like if you look back at the script, you see that's what's created. Press to this. And if you look at the other message, you can see here it's also the attachment. If you open it, yes, it also contains hello world like I demonstrated earlier. I hope you found this video useful. If you like it, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.